Today, we have a guest, a design director of M Sparkle of MCC Singapore and founder of JIA Studios. And here we have Jackie Lai.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Jackie, tell us more about yourself and what made you want to become a designer.
Hi, I came from a non-design background actually, and I started off in marine engineering. So my early training actually is about system, engine and logic, also probably structures. But I always have been a thrill seeker. So at one point, I even extend 2 years in my army on top of my army obligations because I want to try parachuting. So of course, the mindset of pushing boundaries and stepping into unknown actually stay with me throughout my design career. So eventually, this curiosity actually leads me into architecture and design. In fact, I was being accepted several university schools. Just that I didn't proceed because of financial, and of course, I took up the interior design in Singapore. But my engineering foundations kind of shaped me of who I am, and to me, the space is not just about how it looks, but also how it's being built. Because my foundation leads me to how that the space, how it's going to perform and how it evolve over time. So interior design give me the balance and between the logic and creativity.
For interior design, or when you're designing, is there somebody that you look up to in terms of how we always learn from the masters?
Okay, like for example, because I'm someone who do not like to be like bound by I like to enter to the unknown. So of course, futuristic design is something that I like to do. And of course, one one of the architect I look upon is Hadid because I like his avant-garde fluidity of the curves and the way how he go against all odds to perform some of the shape and sizes, which to me with my foundational engineering actually helps me to can have an internal calculation whether some shapes and size can be structured possibility in interior design. So Zaha Hadid is really someone that inspire me upon this career.
Yeah, previously I attended a talk from you, and you did one futuristic design of a few years back. I think it was how many years? 8 years, 7 years ago?
Yeah, before pandemic.
Yeah. How do you think it's different in this current context? Or what do you think you would have changed from the previous design to what it is now?
Okay, of course, before pandemic, futuristic design is just like what everyone envision as futuristic design, what we see from movies. Like the concept that I designed for Marina One Residence, it actually inspired for a movie. Then of course, to me, if I'm going to redesign it, the approach is very different. Just like what I envision futuristic world from now, it will be more on invisible technology and human comfort, and as well as more on sustainability.
Invisible technology, what do you mean by that?
Invisible technology is something like the space will be. It's just like when we design a space, it will be very natural. You will feel that the spaces, you will design spaces that can anticipate needs, they can adjust accordingly, and blending technology so seamlessly you may not even notice it. Just like for example, in the morning you can be, instead of woken up by a typical alarm clock, okay, your window curtain can be up and the window turns into a TV showing you news subtly, reminding you that the morning have comes, or seamlessly in a way that when the when it's time for dining for the family, okay, the lights, like what we currently trying to adapt now, the lights in the living room dim down, the dining room will be brightened up with music, subtly calling everyone for dinner. So this we call it invisible technology, where it actually adjusts accordingly. So I envision next time the face spaces will be designed according to something like that. So this is something that, for example, if I'm going to design in future, all these invisible technology will go hand in hand. And of course, all these will help in human comfort and sustainability in a way that like circadian lighting, um, energy consumption adjustment according to whether there's user in the room. So all these will help. That will be the futuristic design that I'm looking at.
Do you think it will happen in Singapore soon?
I believe so because smart homes and smart technology and even AI have come in like waves in Singapore, and it's hitting everyone before we know it. And of course, to me, Singapore is still not the leading one. You can even see in US and in China, there's a lot of technology going on that it haven't reached to our shore yet. So I envision this will come very soon.
Okay, speaking of technology and China, US, for China itself, I know that it has been a while that they started piloting the drone delivery. And for Singapore wise, Grab recently launched their first piloting in Tanjong Rhu. So apart from the concept itself, in terms of interior spaces, the future of interior spaces, how do you think in the future where it starts to branch out into a nationwide delivery for drone, how do you think it would change the way F&B, central kitchen, and retail spaces do their delivery, or how do we design brick and mortar space from there?
Okay, so I believe, okay, of course, the drone delivery has come to our shore, but of course, currently is, I believe it will start off by maybe school campus, office spaces, and waterfront, which is they currently doing the experiment at the new waterfront. Definitely away from sensitive spaces. In Raffles City, probably it happens in office spaces, but not near the airfield, etc. So of course, as a designers, we have with this in place, we have to understand the retail, or no, the F&B and retail. Probably retail delivery can include retail as well. So we have to redesign the shop front. We have to probably consider airspace as part of the design ecosystem.
Yeah.
Then there will be redesign of the building where probably the rooftop design, there will be a parking just for the drone, and even at open spaces where people can deliver, or even the staff can approach to place food at the proper drone at the takeoff spaces. So all these spaces, I believe in future there will be a lot more, whether it's co-shared space or individual so-called flying off platform from individual kiosks. So this may affect the shopfront design. And of course, for the kitchen F&B, there will be decentralized kitchen. Probably they won't have so much of a physical restaurant anymore, but it's a combined decentralized kitchen where everyone gathered together. They have their own kitchen just to prepare for the necessity for the drone to deliver. So these are something that interior design may have to relook of the future F&B space with this in place.
Which I think it's, you mentioned making use of rooftops as a landing zone or takeoff zone for such drones in the potential future, which is good in terms of architecture and design, how we always call the term adaptive use. Where previously we had this issue in Singapore where a lot of car park rooftops or HDB rooftops, they are very underutilized. And then because nowadays they like to do the rooftop gardening, or sometimes they even do pickleball court, tennis courts on shopping mall roofs, car park roofs. So this will be a good opportunity to make use of unused spaces as well, which is what we have always been trying to tackle because of the scarcity of space in Singapore. Do you think, by any chance, this drone delivery would ever be a cross-border?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. But of course, for the moment, because the air regulation and there'll be air regulation hurdles and custom the Singapore custom whether there will be exchange of goods without tax. So these are some things that could be a major hurdle between the transportation. But I feel the first thing that probably may happen will be the type of things will be the medical. So medical with the drone, medical support can reach as far as a further location and reach across even from between borders or even for our peacemaking support or for a neighboring country who is affected by disaster. So this is something that I believe will be the first. Medical will be the first. The rest will be logistic in terms of helping aid. So all these things are non-taxable, so there will be no custom issue. And usually air regulation are more flexible for this one. Yeah. Other than that, the rest may have to see how it goes. That when they can clear the air traffic control thing.
Okay, so since we're talking about AI and drone or the future of Singapore itself, what do you think is the current Singapore identity and how do you think it will change in 5 to 10 years' time with technology?
Our Singapore design identity, to me, Singapore technology is no longer going for cookie cutter design, which we always feel is very international looking with glass shades and glass windows throughout. It's very internationalized. But in future, I believe our design moving towards on building on cultures, memories. As you slowly see our landscapes, how when we design our space, there will be incorporation of memory, cultural, and as well as they are going for Singapore design Singapore design identity will move away from being too international and over polished, and we will become more confident and layered with and more regionally grounded. There will be more integration of, we call it tropical intelligence. What I mean by tropical intelligence, where there will be more shadings using natural materials, cross ventilation because of our monsoon, etc., and more greenery definitely. So then will be our design identity will also going for more stronger narrative that links to culture and a memory of our forefathers, and as well as reuse, like adaptive reuse, how we going to incorporate our existing buildings, like even shop house, into offices and interesting spaces. Yeah, so there will be a shift from luxury or cookie cutter windows to maybe sometimes they can even accept imperfections, like because shop house itself is imperfections. We'll go into textures and memory more. So I believe our design identity will go into more restraint and but being more smart and more purposeful. Yeah.
But it takes the locals to appreciate the imperfection of things as well, because there may be not everybody who can accept the kind of flaw, especially because what you're mentioning is in terms of commercial spaces, how the outlook of our city streets are. But in terms of HDB or residential dwellings itself, how do you think it would change?
Okay, of course, renovation is never perfect, but sometimes if a good craftsman or interior design, sometimes if we're going to implement something that's of imperfection, it have to compensate with, you have to supplement with textures that's very interesting. Like for example, a simple thing as cement screening on the wall. It used to be very popular because inspired by the architect Tara Ando. Yeah. So because it's imperfection and it's not smooth, but in a way that if it's being curated very nicely in the throughout the room, the imperfection become a beauty. So it depends how we craft the spaces. Like shop houses, there's definitely be imperfection because the houses are maybe 50, at least 50 to 100 years old. And during these imperfections, we have to redesign the spaces, maybe putting more naturals like rattan, incorporate natural materials that kind of make the whole space more conducive. So the imperfection doesn't really stand out, but it actually blends into the surrounding. Of course, if I talk about new condos, there will be no imperfection because everything is brand new. Then, of course, that is a completely different identity where we will approach the owner and design a space linked to more to the cultures, depend whether they are Chinese, Indian, or Caucasian, Eurasian, and to design according to the cultures and to the memory and to the user experience of individual.
But that's the thing about Singapore is everything is imported, including like what you mentioned, the rattan, the bamboo, all are imported goods from our neighboring countries. Do you think there is something unique about Singapore, be it material wise, that a lot of people sort of do not appreciate or haven't see the value that we can actually use?
Yeah, the only disadvantage that we have in Singapore because we are a young nation. So and basically it's like wherever we know more or less everyone is immigration from somewhere, from Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, China, even Indonesia. So a lot of so-called original materials come from all these ASEAN countries. So that's why, but we Singapore have our own identity in the way that because there's a lot of cross marriage that create this Peranakan concept. Of course, this culture is probably shared among like in Penang, Malacca, where they also say that they have a similar Baba Peranakan.
Yes.
But in general, in Singapore, we are very. I feel our identity is really like crossbreed. We have Westerners and Chinese, Chinese and Malays, Chinese and Indian. So we have a lot of crossbreed, and it became like a very multiracial racial society where there's different races living together. To me, that is a very unique identity that Singapore is creating. Not in terms of material, but really more on culture. More on culture. Materials really is just a blend of Southeast Asia materials, and then of course the adaptiveness is depend on individual memories from all these origin. Yeah.
So you mentioned, okay, since now we are talking about the ASEAN or Southeast Asia materials culture, have you done any projects regionally?
Okay, I'm fortunate enough to be the Asia Pacific interior designers of UpStar. So UpStar is a professional body of national level association of around Asia Pacific. So with this accreditation, I can practice 13 countries that include Japan, Korea, and even Hong Kong. So regionally, I have did 2 hotels and even involved in condominium development as well as master plan for a Chinatown in as far as India, Calcutta. So all these projects kind of give me a different insight of different culture that is very different from Singapore.
So apart from AI technology that we mentioned earlier on, how do you think the future of design could potentially push even further regionally, like collaborations? Do you think it's happening currently, or do you think we can push even further? And how do we push collaborations regionally?
Okay, so collaboration within the design between the different designers in South Asia to me is it became like co-creation. So collaboration with this become co-creation. Why is it co-creation? Because you as maybe Malaysian designer or international, me as Singapore designers, both of us have their own values and cultural background. So when we come together to create something, it become a co-creation. So of course, I happen to collaborate with a few designers before, and what where it turned out is something like have to be culturally suitable to the local, local, regardless which country you come from. So the most important designers have to listen culturally and what is adaptive we use over there, what kind of materials we have, and have to be more sensitive to it. So this co-creation can be very interesting. You can input your idea as in Singapore designers going overseas. You can input your idea what Singapore perceive as practical. We practice restrained design. We don't try to overemphasize. But in over there, probably there's adaptive use of like maybe rattan or different furnitures that is very useful, very natural. Then we can kind of combine and co-create different concept that is very interesting. I believe that sometimes we've seen a lot of this kind of creation happen in Jakarta and even in Bangkok, where there's a Singapore design participating there. So yeah, so designers who are going regionally we have to listen more of how culturally there in the individual countries and work with the local designers.
I think it's also humbling ourselves as designers to go overseas to collaborate with them.
Unless unless the collaborator insists you to bring in 100% Singapore design into their country. Just like I can see Chongqing have a entire MBS over there, which is a lot of people see is fake, but it actually is by CapitaLand. No, so this, but unless we are being have this kind of design narrative, if not, we should design something that is suitable for their local market.
Was there one particular one that you were very fond of the memory and you enjoyed it a lot for a regional project?
I think there's one project that that got me into one of the award, the 20 under 40, which is I collaborate with a non-profit organization in Afghanistan. Okay. This is not a house per se, but actually I was fortunate to I was approached to contribute design pro bono to this mobile bus converted to a library, because during at that time is like I think a good 10 years ago, Afghanistan is still under like kind of war period, and the schools are not really open, or if not, it's not really available in daily basis. So this non-profit organization approached me to redesign a mobile bus into a library, which I redesigned and sent to them. And they showed me photos of that's being done using my design. So I'm very proud that Singapore design have reached as far as Afghanistan. So in a way that then they show me pictures of how the students over there able to read the books and able to use the library as a platform to broaden their knowledge. Then it kind of very heartwarming to see. So that's why it gives me a very significant impactful memory that I designed and made an impact.
So what you mentioned, you did pro bono projects as well. So apart from that, what kind of leader do you think, or what kind of designer do you think you are? Are you somebody who wants to, say, for example, give back to the community, or do you have an aspiration to push yourself even further? So what kind of leader do you think you are?
Currently, I really wear a lot of hats. Like, for example, while I'm having my own practice and being a design director in the MNC, I contribute back, I believe, in education, the younger generation. So that's why I'm also adjunct lecturer in Temasek Poly, teaching modules in advanced interior design, advanced diploma in interior design practice. Then, of course, on the other hand, I'm also a council member of Society Interior Design. Um, and why I want to be council, because I want to contribute and set up events, bring in speakers, and bring in relevant people, and spreading the use of AI, how we being able to help the younger designers to embrace it rather than resist it. So these are all the things that I've been trying to have been doing this past few years. So of course, for me, I always want to lead in a way that in terms of by education and also encouraging designers, because I know interior designers, it's not an easy job. Some of the designers are involved in very heavy duty project management, as they are in commission based whatsoever. So some of these guys, a lot of designers lost their soul and go money changing, and to that they convert from non-designers into contractors because they are chasing different directions. So me in the education, I'm as a leader, I have responsibility to pull them back to tell them to redefine design, and to most important to educate that design is not free. Is you should be paid to do something you do, and of course, don't just go for cookie cutter design and betray your soul. Yeah.
So, since you are teaching the new generation of designers, what kind of leadership should they possess? Whether is it internationally, locally, or in Asia, other than fighting spirit, the drive, the passion for design, what do you think should possess in them as a designer?
You mean for them as a leader, or
Yes,
as
as
designer?
a
Future leader, is it?
future leader, or even as designers.
Okay, so to me, the designers need to master their fundamentals. That's very important. And of course, they also need to be grounded. Then, with this latest technology, or even AI, designers have to be comfortable with technology. That's very important. And with the sustainability also in place in all the countries, designers need to have social and environmental responsibility. So regardless whether they are going to be a leader or the designer itself, they need to be grounded, master the fundamental, need to design with social and environmental responsible.
I think that also comes with experience and maturity, because as you remember in the past, for me, I always wanted to design very Zaha Hadid inspired. Every design also Zaha Hadid, like don't care about budgeting and stuff. It's only when I'm out in the industry over the years, then I start to mature in terms of design aspect, and you start to understand more about budgeting, detailing, which is in relevance to cost as well. And then PR with client, what the client needs, etc. So all these things, I would say it's over the years. Once they come out fresh from graduation, yeah, maybe they want to have a very big envision, very big goal of things.
Yeah, I see a lot of local designers, they couldn't do a breakthrough. The reason why is because they spend so much time doing cookie cutter that they forgotten how to really design. The most important, a lot of designers, when they very too much into contracting works, they lost the ability to do storytelling or narrate or create a design narrative. So that's why sometimes they couldn't push through the design concept to the owners. Yes. Like for example, I'm very fortunate to have some of the customers who willing to let me design everything with no question asked. That's why I'm able to push in some of the like Marina One residents, and I have several houses that using geometrical that form a sculpture, in a two level volume space. I even have a project where I could use geometrical to create a sculpture that can put plants, or just to wrap a column that spans from the basement to level 3, which at the end of the day the customer liked it very much. But before that, everyone is skeptical how it's going to look like. So first, you need to be brave, and of course, whatever you design need to serve a purpose. It must have a function. Then after that, and you tell customer that, do you want a impactful house, or do you want a space that reflect your personality? So, or some of these you can lead the design, rather than you are being led by the customer say that, okay, please follow these pictures from the Pinterest that I gathered. Then of course, designers will unable to break through if they just follow this template.
Yeah, I think a lot of designers are facing this problem. Like, not saying that it's wrong. Like you mentioned, their direction is doing sales, doing contracting work, which that is the builder aspect of designing. So a lot of them just couldn't find a breakthrough. Even until now, I'm also trying to navigate my way around storytelling, or to push myself more towards the conceptual side, because I also come from D&B, but a lot of times it's also trying to listen to the client, but trying to push the limit of what the client accepts.
Yeah, it's never easy to balance. Like, I teach a lot of my students the fundamental and as well the balance between profit and design passion. Because sometimes when you want to design better, your profit is lesser. If your customer are willing to pay for that additional curve, everything, because we are when for the old designers who are listening, when you are in this design and build business, everything curve is an additional cost. Everyone just one straight cookie cutter TV console as well. So, like, for example, sometimes when designers, I myself was being signed to, like, if the customer don't pay, I pay. Just to want to come up with the vision that I envision that should come out, but your profit will be less.
Yeah.
So there's never a perfect world. Sometimes you may have to lose a bit profit to push your idea through. Then when the customer appreciate it, and when your portfolio really comes to light, then people will understand, okay, why your design intent of this details become so impactful in the house or commercial space that you design.
Okay, so at the start we mentioned adaptive use is an ongoing or the near future of how Singapore's future in design would be, which are already happening now, as per what we are seeing in this current industry. There's one question or one project that I really want you to share with the audience, is the Orchard Tower project, where it was a nightclub at the highest floor.
Level 4.
Then after that,
it used to be a nightclub that have a staggered auditorium like range from level 4 to level 6.
Okay, yes. So how do you think, in terms of adaptive use, was much relevant in converting that nightclub into a church? What were the challenges faced, and what was very interesting about that project?
Okay, but of course, these projects is very unique in a way that the church was going around looking for the right premises. Then, of course, when they came across these spaces where very rare where you can have the auditorium staggered spaces pre-made into a shopping mall. So because if in order to do that, you have to engage a lot of engineers to break the slabs between levels. Break the slabs in between levels to create that. But they happen to see this, and of course, because it's also in a good location in Orchard Tower, except for the building is a bit old, but they feel the need to change the landscape, and we call it readaptive use because if they are not going to use the space, there's no other user that can use that space unless you are another movie theater. Otherwise, no one can able to use that space with staggered terraces. So being a church is the best location to revamp the whole space. So is really when it come in, it changes the spirit of space. And of course, the lead designer for this project is not me. It's Xia Ping from Aska Studios. But we share the same vision because we design futuristic houses before, and he has his a very famous workpiece as well in Tanjong Ru area as well. So we happen to share the same vision, and he showed me he showed us the during the tender. They show us the pictures to say if we can do it. I'm someone who like to go beyond to enter the unknown and push the boundaries. So I say I did similar concept before. Let's do it. So we actually complete where the competitors are saying to complete in 6 months. We will complete in 4.5 months. So to us it's an achievement. And if you're able to see the pictures, and I believe some of the pictures have published online or in Mothership, it's quite impactful that the space has become so, and it's a futuristic design. So this project is pretty meaningful because this space is something of the past, and now we give a new purpose and a new spirit that can revitalize the whole mall.
But how do you all break through that stigma of Orchard Tower?
Okay, of course, Orchard Tower, of course, there have always been newses on drugs and murders and vices. Yeah. Then of course, because of the risk, because of the episode, then of course the government also step in and stop renewing some of the license. Then it create an impact to all the tenants there because those that used to service those patrons who come at night can no longer be operating. So just happen this church give them a new lease of life. No churches can bring a lot of hundreds and thousands of customers to the space.
New energy as well.
Yeah, so there's a new energy coming in, and the clean energy. When then now everyone are very excited. There's new food court, there's new restaurants setting up, there's new schools setting up. So then even approach us to help to design a space because we did the orchard. So the whole space are being revitalized and really like a new spirit live into it. Yeah, so it's quite meaningful end of the day.
Okay. So last question. Do you have anything to say to the audience or anybody who are aspiring to become designers or architect? What is that one message that you want to bring it across to them?
Of course, I'd like to my advice to the young designers in Asia or in Singapore, most important is to build depth before visibility, before chasing visibility. Build that as in take some time to learn the fundamentals. From the fundamentals, then must also to stay grounded. Most important, stay grounded because technology will change, the market will shift. But values, integrity is very important. And if you design with sincerity and responsibility, your work can stand with time. This is something that I want. This is the short advice I want to address to all designers who is listening now.
We've come to the end of the creative circuit. If you like what you watch, do subscribe, share, and give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.